Yeah, this week has been absolutely insane with work, and it's crazy to think that I don't have to train for the 2 weeks that work ended up being the absolute craziest. Normally, it wouldn't line up like that. Like, this past year has been insane with work, and mostly because, as most of you know, I am an engineer and a project manager in the healthcare system. And right now, I'm building out a new labor and delivery unit for a major hospital group in New York. And the amount of work that goes into a project like this is absolutely insane, to say the least. So, I mean, as a typical civilian, and you look at hospitals coming up and new units coming live, or maybe you just see the infrastructure already in place, and you really can't even imagine, or most people can't even imagine, the amount of work that goes into something like this. Well, for me personally, this has been so far a 12-month pursuit. This specific phase of the project is worth $30 million, and it's taken pretty much every spare percentage of my brain capacity to get this project done and get it done well. And right now is the last 2 weeks of the project before we bring it live. And by bring it live, I mean transition the space from construction owning the space to the clinical team being able to operate in the space, meaning they can actually have babies in a labor and delivery unit's case. So on next Wednesday, I have my survey with the Department of Health to basically give the hospital the green light to move forward with allowing babies to be born on this unit. And it's been a hell of a ride this year. And looking back on these past 12 months working on this project, and then most of that happening at the same time as me training for an Ironman, and then whatever else I've been reading and learning and studying up on, has been pretty crazy, just to say the least. I'm quite surprised that there's been no give point, and maybe even to the contrary, this Ironman training has helped me with my stress management throughout these really hard months. So just something to reflect on as I'm coming up to the end of the year, the end of a project, and looking forward into the beginning of this next new year, where this isn't my only project that I have on my radar. I have many other things that I'm doing. Many of those projects, at least $10 million in value, that I've been working on and will continue to work on through this year. So with that in mind, just mentally preparing and mentally planning how this next Ironman prep is going to go in the year 2025. And, I'm excited to see how I handle it, and if I can really figure out a system to keep my foot on the pedal at work, because I would say that I'm in a position where I am rising in the ranks as I'm accomplishing quite a bit in my professional life. I'm also in a pretty serious trajectory with my girlfriend, soon to be fiance, and I am continuing to pursue my personal goals of improving athletically in my Ironman pursuits and in my training. And normally that would in itself be a lot to handle, and then on top of that, I'm trying to start and run both an online business centered around Ironman triathlon and a freelance electrical engineering business that, as many of you also know if you've been with this channel for a little while, I got my license for this year. That was, I almost forgot, that was the other big thing that I got done this past year. So it's a lot of pushing and a lot of striving that I've had on my radar and on my calendar, and that I continue to push for. So I'm excited to see where that leads and how those pursuits manifest in my daily life and in my futures as well. Like, so far I can place a tangible, I could put my finger on many tangible benefits from the effort over this past year already. And I'm curious to see how those continue to grow and how those continue to grow in scale of the goals that I'm aiming for. So if nothing else, then this video is more a reflection on where I've been and where I'm planning to go. By this time next year, I would imagine my life being both at the same time not extremely different than it is now, but also very different than it is now. Most of the growth and most of the difference that I'm expecting will be internal and also material, but there won't be any change in what I'm doing, and that's what I mean by it's going to be very different but also very much the same. Like, if you looked at what I did over this past year, I couldn't identify any single thing that I have not been doing that I'm now doing. And just like in Ironman training, you have to run, you have to swim, and you have to bike, and you have to get good at all three of those different things. And you're gonna learn how to improve a little bit by a little bit the more you do them. But whether you're a pro or whether you're a beginner, the name of the game is getting out there and getting your miles in and doing what you know you're supposed to be doing. And the same is true for relationships, the same is true for sport, the same is true for career, and for those of us who choose to, or don't even choose to, just desire entrepreneurial ventures and side hustles. So when you look at life through that lens, everything seems so simple, but I'm thinking that it is that simple, but the complication arises when you want to do things faster than the natural order allows, maybe. Like, I want my personal business success now, right? But if I haven't put in the 2 to 5 years of laying down the appropriate knowledge base and infrastructure, then it's not gonna happen. But the fact that over the past, say, 7 to 8 years, switching topics to my engineering career, if I hadn't gone through the steps of first you go to college for engineering, you pick the right major, you go through the curriculum, you graduate, right? That's the trajectory. After that, you at some point after graduating have to take the FE exam, the fundamentals of engineering exam. After that, you have to accrue 5 years of experience, approximately, depending on your state. And then you have to study for, take, and pass the professional engineer's license test, the PE exam, and then you can get your your license to then be a professional engineer and act on that new license. So you can't just one day decide that you want to be an engineer and then expect the results tomorrow. But the fruits of many years of effort tends to come in time, as long as you don't pull back and stop pursuing that effort. Same thing with this triathlon stuff. I was much worse my first year in pursuing triathlon, and my case is a little bit special because I started my pursuit and then became extremely injured, and then had to restart my pursuit from ground level, and then got myself to just being able to finish the race. And it was a much longer road than I think many of you would need to take to get to the same point. That's where I'm getting with that. But the bottom line is, to get to where I am now, where I'm much faster, much less pain, my race results are much better, and I feel much more confident in this pursuit. The only way to get any of those three things is time of consistent hard work. So there's my brain dump for the day, and my tendency to manage to relate almost every venture that I'm doing in my personal and professional life into a single simplified thread. And that's my aim, and hopefully that message came across well. And hopefully I didn't speak too slow to completely bore any of you. Hopefully there was some value that can be pulled out of what I said. I'm not going to edit this video, so you'll have all of my pauses, except maybe I'll cut the video to where I actually began speaking. But if you like this video, then please subscribe. And if you prefer that I edit the video and shrink those time periods between when I say words to an unnaturally condensed speed and period, then also let me know that. I am what I refer to as a slow talker, and I like to think before I say what I'm going to say, and if I feel rushed in saying what I want to say, I'm fairly confident that I'm not going to speak as elegantly or fluently to get the correct point that I want to get across. But over time, I'm sure I'll improve with that too. That's this whole effort. That's this effort to continue working on my speaking to camera skills, presenting skills, and doing things in a way where I actually get to provide value to all of you. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to all of you tomorrow.